Hey guys, Ag Nerd here. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's beautiful, sun shining, birds are chirping here at the farm. Today we're going to talk about intensive grazing. Had a lot of people ask me, what is intensive grazing? Why do you do it? And I hope to explain that to you right now. So it all boils down to this, the actual grass itself. You have the base of the grass, the stem, the leaves, and the very top. So intensive grazing, the whole idea behind intensive grazing is to get the most production out of the grass that you can. So typically we let our cows graze the top 4 to 6 inches of the grass blade, therefore allowing or leaving the remaining pieces of the grass to stay. A couple reasons why we want to utilize or make our pastures most efficient as we can. Therefore, doing so, we can run more animals, more cows per acre by following that method. It's better on the grass, it's better on the soil, and it's better on the cow. Let me explain why. Imagine a solar panel on your house. You have those panels out there, it collects the sun, and it's able to convert the sun's energy into power for your house. Same thing this grass blade is doing. You allow the animal to take the top 4 to 6 inches off. It still leaves the rest of the plant to collect sun and energy to regrow those 4 to 6 inches. If you take the grass all the way down, there's no more solar panels left, and therefore it's much harder and takes much longer for the plant to regrow, repair itself, to be effective or efficient for animal consumption again. So the top 4 to 6 inches, removing that allows it to grow back faster and being able to utilize more effectively. So you take those top 4 to 6 inches. There's also another reason, is it's good for the animal because this has the bulk of the nutrients. The new growth has the bulk of the nutrients. It's much more lush, tender. It's more desirable, more palatable, has higher TDN, total digestible nutrients. And also, parasites live on this bottom portion of the grass. The top 6 to 8 inches from the ground is where the parasites live that go in. Your cow consumes them, creates worms in your stomach. They can't put on weight gain as readily. And so if you're just allowing them to eat the top 4 to 6 inches, not the bottom 6 to 8, then it's once again more efficient. You don't have to work your animals, stress them, put synthetic chemicals in them, all those different pieces. So here you see we have our pastures broken up into different paddocks. You can see we start off at this paddock here by the pond. That's our pond paddock, and we can put them in there for a day. Then we move them to the barn paddock. And so we have our paddocks fenced so that we can open them up, and that they can go in from one paddock, come in from another paddock, and go out to another paddock. Once, for example, we have the pond paddock, opens up to the barn paddock. Then the barn paddock opens up to the paddock above the barn, which then will open up to the middle paddock. And the middle paddock's a little bigger, it's getting a little bigger. Then to our corner paddock, and we can typically start grazing maybe 1.5 to 2 days in that corner paddock. Then we can move over to our paddock by the house. So this paddock by the house, we have identified that it's too large, and it can easily be cut down into 2 paddocks, and that will be a future project that we do. Then you see our woods paddock. That's just typically we let them run the woods. They have the farm drive there that has lots of grass on both sides of it, as well as there's some vegetation in the woods that they like to eat sometimes. And so we do graze that, or consider that a paddock. And then back up here to our top pasture. Our top pasture, when we're not baling it or cutting it, we do let the animals graze there. If the top paddock was going to be a regular grazer, we would probably cut it up into at least 3 paddocks. But because it's a dual, sometimes we bale it, sometimes we graze it. We'll leave it as is. And then finally, our paddock above the pond. Our paddock above the pond is once again a dual paddock. Sometimes we bale it, sometimes we graze it, and so it's in that rotation as well. And then right back to the paddock above the pond. There's also an intermediate paddock there, the grain bin paddock, and that grain bin paddock is just an intermediate piece that we're able to let them go in. Now, some other people will do mob grazing. Mob grazing is great because animals, as you've seen in some other videos, animals are of habit. They have predictable patterns. They'll follow the same cow trail. They'll eat grasses in the same place. I don't know about that grass over there. I'm not going to eat it. I'm just going to eat right here. But in mob grazing, you have them in a confined area or a smaller area. They're not confined, but a smaller area, and you're forcing them to eat everything down. And that's good. If that works for your situation, awesome. But when you do allow them to eat it down, it exposes the soil. And so when you have exposed soil, it doesn't retain moisture. So your soil moisture level goes down. By keeping the bottom few inches, it creates a shadow for other competitors, weeds, other grasses, and so it doesn't allow them to take hold as readily. So there's just all around intensive grazing is just very effective. I want you to think about the Old West when you had herds of buffalo. They'd literally come in. They graze on the move. They'd graze, they'd eat, and then they'd move on. They weren't stuck in one spot. They're going to get that one bite and move on to the next lush bite. So when you go to, if you decide to do intensive grazing and you set your farm or your place into paddocks, you want to make your paddocks the size where whatever size herd you have can go in and one day get that one bite, so that then the next day they're ready to move and get the one bite in the next paddock. So paddock size is a variable that depends on your herd size. And so we do electric fences because we wanted to be able to move our paddocks, the size of our paddocks, so that we'll accommodate our herd size. You know, some other variables to look at is water. Whatever paddocks you have, you need to make sure that you can maintain water. You know, some people will create alleyways so that they can leave the paddock and go to a central water location. That works great. We did some infrastructure a few years back. We put in a deep water well, and then we plumbed all of our pastures, our paddocks, so that we have water in every one of them. So that's quite an undertaking. If you can do that, I recommend it. If you can't, just make you some alleyways. It also allows for access. We believe in free range or free access to mineral. We also do a supplement tub that has a protein. You guys can do that. That's your call. But those are the things that we do, that we look at for intensive grazing. You know what? Here's another suggestion is go to Google Earth and look at a satellite view of your property. That will help you determine how you want to fence it out. Whether you decide to do intensive grazing or not, it will help you identify how you want to lay out your pastures, as well as place your barns, place your waterers, all those different things. So we practice intensive grazing here. By no means am I saying you need to do that. It's just what works for us. Those you guys that do the mob grazing, hats off, more power to you. Hey, if you have any questions or want to ask me anything about how we do intensive grazing, let me know. Just to recap, it's better, our grass grows faster, we can run more animals, it's better for soil retention, it creates less parasites for the cows, it shadows the weeds, and our cows are much happier because they're getting good grass. Hope that helps you out. God bless. Hope everybody in your family's doing well. Ag Nerd out.